I'm getting a feedback. That's why I'm trying to touch my buttons right now. Okay, let me just do that quickly. All right, before we swim into the ocean of knowledge this evening, I would like you to do something right now. If you're on the live stream, you don't want to soak up the knowledge alone. You don't want to be solo. You don't want to write solo. So what are you going to do? You're going to share the link with your friends, your family, your neighbors, people in the media space, even your enemies. Get them on board because we want to learn something new today. I'm not going to be the anchor. I will hand you over into the safe arms of Hope and our entourage today. So Hope, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you so much for good evening, everyone.
We
I'm
can
super
hear you.
excited to.
Okay.
You can't hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm super excited to be hosting a webinar for the month of May. And I want to say thank you to our convener, Mrs. Oludolapo Adewale Remido, for this opportunity. So, media girls, welcome on board. Please let me feel your pulse in the comment section so that I know you are ready to learn from the wealth of experience and knowledge that we'll be tapping from today. And like our convener has said, please do not forget to share the live link with your friends. Let them know we are live. Today promises to be another exciting journey of learning. As you know, they say learning never ends. And that's why we have our speaker today. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, and that's why, okay, and that's why we have our speaker today who will be taking us on a journey to another world in the media industry. A lot of times we focus so much on what happens in front of the camera, behind the mic, and our delivery that we forget that there's a whole other aspect to media, and that is the media, the business aspect. And I'm sure at some point in our career, we've asked ourselves why media houses, producers, presenters are struggling to build a sustainable and profitable career from the business of media. Well, like I said, our speaker today has over 2 decades of experience in the business of media, as our topic for today indicates. So we're going to bring her on board shortly. But before that, I'm going to walk you through her profile. And if you are ready to learn the business of media, please drop your message in the comment section and the live chats in YouTube so that we know you are ready to learn. So, meet our speaker for today. She's known as Rare Speaks across social media platform. She's a trailblazer in marketing and communications with nearly 2 decades of expertise in Nigeria's dynamic marketing and communications industry. She's famously called Rosemary Egabor-Afolahan. She has established herself as a formidable force and a visionary leader. She is the Director of Commercial and Communications at New Centra and has been instrumental in shaping the network strategic direction, driving innovation, and spearheading growth initiatives that have solidified the station's position as a leading news outlet in Africa. Rosemary's career trajectory is a testament of her versatility and prowess. She's a graduate of Covenant University with a bachelor's degree in marketing. She also holds a master's degree in media and communication from Pan Atlantic University. She's a respected associate member of both the Chartered Institute of Marketing, CIM, and the Chartered Institute of Public Relations, CIPR, in the UK, underscoring her commitment to professional excellence and continuous learning. Her professional journey began in the banking sector, where she honed her skills in financial management and client relations at Spring Mortgage Bank and First City Monument Bank. She then transitioned to the media industry, making a significant impact as the Senior Marketing Officer and Business Development Team Lead at NN24, where she led successful marketing campaigns and cultivated strategic partnership that drove the company's growth. Joining Youth Central in 2018 as the head of the commercial department, Rosemary brought a wealth of experience and an unwavering dedication to excellence. Her leadership has been pivotal in expanding the network commercial footprint, crafting innovation revenue models, and enhancing audience engagement through solution-based and impactful journalism. From navigating challenges of a growing media network to being a key architect of its commercial success, she has been at the forefront of its evolution. Beyond her professional achievement, Rosemary is also known for her influential presence in the digital space, where she shares insights on marketing and business strategy. Her social media platform, particularly LinkedIn and Instagram, serves as hubs for thoughtful leadership, inspiring a new generation of marketers and entrepreneurs. Rosemary Egabor-Afolahan's story is one of courage, innovation, and relentless pursuit of excellence. Her impact on New Central and the broader media landscape continues to grow as she leads with a vision that inspires and a passion that drives change. So, media guests, that's our speaker for today. Please, a round of applause for our guest. And do not stop clapping until she turns on her video. Let me see you clap in the comment section.
Wow.
Keep clapping, keep clapping. She will turn on her video anytime soon. So keep clapping. Good evening, Ma. Can you hear me?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Ma. It's such an honor to have you here. And thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Of course, we know you're a very busy woman. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today.
It's fine. It's fine. We do this for Dolapo.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Ma, we want to know about your media journey. So tell us a bit about your media story for a start.
Okay. Like you rightly said, I have about more than 20 years experience in my career. Yeah, I started in banking. But funny enough, it feels like God wanted me to always be a media person. So even while I was at the bank, okay, my first banking experience was Spring Mortgage Bank, which was a mortgage bank. And then I moved to First City Monument Bank. And while I was in First City Monument Bank, I was in corporate banking. And in corporate banking, I was managing um, clients under telecommunications, media, and technology. So I was on the other end, financing telecommunication companies, broadcast media organizations, and technology companies. So that gave me my first insights into how the media industry works, how the telecommunication industry works. I mean, my time in telecommunications from the banking sector was during the time of Econet Wireless, BARTI network. I don't know if you ever knew that Airtel of today had changed names like 5 times, Zane at some time, it was BARTI, it was Econet. So those were the days where, I was in the banking sector managing telecommunications, media, and technology. And of course, I then moved to the agency side of things. I worked within the Inside Group on Quadrant MSL, which was a public relations agency under Troika Group. So I have been in media and communications for a very long time. I worked at NN24. NN24 was the first 24 hours news channel in Nigeria. Back then, you never had a 24 hours news channel. Even the channels TV back then, it was maybe 15 hours news, 14 hours news, and then, they would show films and movies, But NA24 came in and we more like revolutionized the media industry in Nigeria by setting up the first 24 hours news channel. And our mantra was more like equal on all sides. We wanted to be fair, objective, and balanced in how we tell our stories, because in Nigeria, back then, news was just full of propaganda. So we wanted to do something different. So that was really like my first taste into core media, into broadcast media. And it was quite fantastic. It was very challenging because, anything that has to do with change comes with its own challenges and all. And I then managed my agency for a while, and then I was called in by a friend of mine whose name is Kayode Akintemi. He was just setting up Plus TV Africa, and I joined him then to set up Plus TV Africa, which is a station that is still running on DSTV today. And of course, from Plus TV Africa, I was poached by the founders of News Central TV to head the business development and strategy and sales department. And I have been there from inception, working closely with the board to come up with market strategies, business and overall corporate strategies, that will help us become a formidable force to generate revenue in the media industry. I mean, working for a news organization can be very challenging. It's very easy working for a general entertainment platform, but news is a tough sell. Very, very tough sell, especially in Nigeria. Nigerians, don't really like to listen to news, but we like to listen to comedy. I guess perhaps maybe the situation of the country, we just want to be laughing and forget our problems, So news is a really tough sell, but I've been with News Central from inception, and here we are today, a very competitive brand and giving other TV stations a run for their money. So yeah, I manage the business side of News Central. So I manage the strategy from ideation, to commercialization. Selling content nowadays is not about creating content and giving it to the commercial people to sell. Now you sell content in a way that the commercial people determine the content you push out there. So you do your market insight and you advise the production people that this is the sort of content that the market wants. And so we produce and you give it back to us and we take it to the market, and then we make it a commercially viable product and we sell and then we make money. So that's what I'm doing for News Central. On the other side, I'm also the director of communications, because we believe that for you to be able to sell a product, which is a brand, you need to position it right. It needs to have its brand values, its brand characteristics, that will make your brand very loyal to the market. And that's the best way to make money. When you have a strong brand, when you have a great brand that has good equity, then it becomes easy to commercialize. So maybe I've said everything I need to say in this conference. Maybe we should call it a day, Abby. But anyway, that's the long and short of
Oh wow, that's interesting. Thank you so much. Can you hear me? I think my network is lagging. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing that with us. And you did say it's challenging, and from all you said, I know that you have a lot to do. Now, you mentioned that majority of Nigerians do not like to watch news and they like to laugh. Now, we as presenters, most of the time, we focus on trying to make the audience laugh, and we forget that it's a product that we are selling. So first of all, we'd like to know, what are the business opportunities that are there in media for presenters, producers, and broadcasters generally? I think we'd like to know that for a start.
Okay. Our guest is off for a moment. So let's just hold on while she connects back.
Right.
You can use this opportunity to continue to talk about how people can drop their questions.
Okay, so please, if you have questions for our speaker, do work to drop it in the chat so that in the course of the conversation, she can respond to your questions. And I can't see the chat from here. Okay, so you can drop the chat via YouTube Live and on Zoom as well. So we take the questions when she come on back.
Okay, I'm back. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, Ma, I can hear you. I hope everyone can hear her too.
Yes.
Okay, welcome back, Ma. So I don't know
Thank you.
if
I
you
think
heard
something
my
went wrong with my
question.
laptop, so
Oh, sorry, Ma. So I don't know if you heard my
that's fine.
question before you left. I was saying
No.
how it's not just, I was saying that it's not just the audience that wants to focus on laughing and not pay attention to some important things. And we have presenters who do not know that the media business, they are also selling a product as well. And they are not aware of the opportunities that are in media, of the business opportunities that are in media. So for start, we would like to know what business opportunities are there in media for broadcasters generally.
Okay, so when people don't have an in-depth, when you say the business of media, people don't have an in-depth understanding and knowledge of what the business of media means. There's this perception that when you talk about business in media, it's about going to the agencies, seeking for NPOs, which is what we call media purchase orders, and then place an advert. So people believe that when you talk about business in media, it's about advert placements. And that's so wrong. That is so limiting. And I think that that's why you don't really have a lot of people wanting to do the commercial part of media. When people hear media, everybody wants to be, on TV, on screen, they want to be the ones to read the news, but they don't know that there's something exciting about media, which is the business side of it. And it's the business side of media that really sustains most media organizations today, sustains the newsrooms today. Without a strong business department in the media organization, you'll be dead as a broadcast organization or as a radio, whether you're radio or TV. So the fact that people think that it's just about advertising is wrong perception. Now, the business of media, as a business person in the media space, means that you have to wear both the creativity cap and the business cap. So which means that you have to have an understanding of how the newsroom works. You need to have an understanding of how the programs department works. You need to understand the art of storytelling, because that's what you're selling. You're selling stories. You're not just selling inventory, you're selling stories. So you need to have an understanding of what content development is. It is when you have an understanding of content development that you can sell that content. And that's where the core crux of the business of media is. If you don't understand content development, content marketing, then you can't make money for your organization. It's not just about advertising. If an advertisement is just let me give it a 30% of ways you can generate revenue. There's so many ways you can generate revenue. So for you to be a business person in the media space, you have to think like a producer. You have to think like an editor. You have to think like a writer, because you're selling stories. So that's what it is. The business person in a TV station is the anchor of a broadcast organization. He's the strategy person. He or she is the one that does the market research, that knows what the market wants, and comes back to the organization to say, hey, producers, editors, writers, this is what the market is looking for. And I think that we should go in this direction. And then the producers produce based on market insights. And then the business people take that production to the markets and then, sell it. So sorry, that's what happens when you're on a Sunday doing your media rounds, you have your kids around. So that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. Okay. So as a business person in media, you have to have an understanding of not just the money part, but the creativity part. Because at the end of the day, it is from ideation to commercialization, not from your sales desk to going to the agencies. It's from the ideation table with the producers to the market. So it's end to end. And that's what makes the business people in News Central very much different from the other TV stations. They are not just salespeople, they are business analysts that understand the end to end of media. I hope I was able to answer that question.
Yes, you were. We picked some things from there. You have to have the creativity cap as well as the business cap. I hope you guys are taking note of this nuggets. So that brings me to ask now, how can a presenter or a content creator package their program in such a way that the audience would accept it, or it will be appealing to the audience? That's our next question. Hello, Mara, are you there?
Sorry, please, can you come up with that question again?
Hello?
Can you come up with the question again, please?
Yes, Mara. I said, okay, so how can presenters now or broadcasters package programs in such a way that it is appealing to the audience? Hello?
Okay, yeah, I have that. So,
Yeah.
first of all, I would not advise any programs person to package a program without getting insight from a commercial person. That is planning to fail. That is sincerely planning to fail. A program idea might sound sweet to you being the person with the idea. It might sound fantastic. It might sound, oh, this is a fantastic idea. But guess what? It might not be fantastic to your audience. Number two, it might not be commercially viable, especially if you want to monetize that program. So it's always important that a producer or a programs person, when coming up with a program idea, you must pull in someone that is into content marketing to come in and give you that advice, to tell you if it's a good idea, to help you screen that idea. It's also important to even get to the level where you have a focus group. Bring samples of the target audience that you believe you want to sell this content to. Let them watch the content. Let them give you that feedback before you decide to launch that program in the market. Because if you don't test that content and you take it to the market and it fails, what happens is that you have spent money, you have launched a product, and it has failed. Now, there is a strategy I like to call the FIRE strategy. And that strategy came up, was something that my colleague invented. It's called FIRE. Before you launch any content, you must make sure that that content is fresh. Fresh. Everybody wants something fresh. And you must have tested it. You must have asked questions. Does this feel fresh? Is this new? Or is this something that people can find on other platforms and other TV stations? If they can find it on any other platform and any other TV station, then it's not fresh. Is it interesting? And you will get feedback from from your focus group, whatever way you want to come up with, so you want to do your survey. There's always opportunity for feedback when you do surveys. Is it interesting? If your focus group is telling you that I didn't find this content interesting, then don't bother. Go back to the drawing board and see where the gaps are. Now, the next one I'm about to mention is one that is very important to me. Is it relatable? Do you think your audience will be able to relate to this content? If you're coming up with content and it's not relatable, then why am I watching it? If I'm watching your content and I am not going, yes, exactly. I've been there. I understand what this person is going through. I understand what they're talking about. Wow, this has happened to someone before. If you find your audience just sitting and watching there, then it's not relatable. And that goes to social media as well. That's what drives engagement. When a content is so relatable, that's when you see people commenting. And of course, your content must be engaging. If your focus group is not engaging with your content, or you test it on social media and you don't see impressions, you don't see likes, you don't see comments, it's just flat, then you might need to go back to the drawing table. But everything I've said, I do not think that any programs person should come up with any program, launch it in the markets without the advice of a business analyst or a commercial person. Does that help? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Very great points that you mentioned there. And I'm sure that Anchor is trying to get herself together. I just wrote down the strategy you mentioned, the FIRE strategy. Very important. Fresh, interesting, relatable, engaging. Wow. Those are nuggets that we should hold on to really tight. All right. Priska, please go on while we wait for her.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for that insightful exposition. Like it's very, very relatable, like you mentioned also. So I'd like to also know what are the challenges that we see that we can face as people that either want to explore the business aspect of media so that we can be able to have ways or strategies to be able to find what's the word? Find a way to be able to manage the situation. So can you please enlighten us on challenges that we can face? And you can give us stories of challenges you also have faced so that we can also learn from them. You got the question, ma'am?
Well, I think I did. I would try to explain what I think I had. What are the challenges I face?
Yes. What are
The
the
business
challenges
of media.
and that you think that we might also face as individuals that want to go into the business arm?
Okay, so I believe that everyone that is creating content today, the end goal is monetization, right?
Definitely, ma'am.
Yes,
So nobody just wants to keep on creating content for the sake of creating content. So I think the first challenge you will face is the fact that sometimes you might get tired of creating this content and you're not making money from it. And that goes to social media platforms and even for broadcast media as well. There is so much money invested into content production. I mean, speaking from a news angle, you will find that we have to send reporters to different locations. We have to send producers to different locations to shoot. The biggest challenge and the biggest question every investor will ask you is, how do I get my returns on my investment? And that is a question even you yourself will ask. You want to produce content. You're probably saving up, or you probably want to spend the money that you saved up, you've been saving up, and you keep on asking yourself this question. if I spend this money to create this content, how am I going to get returns on investment? Will the agencies be interested in this sort of content? Will the brand owners be interested in this sort of content? Will I make my money back? Will I break even? Will I make profit? And that is why you have to go back to the strategy I just spoke about, that your content must be fresh, must be interesting, must be relatable, must be engaging. And then when you're able to get that right, you need to back it up with consistency. Because sometimes you might put in all of that I have mentioned, and the brand owners are not still knocking on your door asking to sponsor your content. So you need to come up with that strategy, fresh, interesting, relatable, engaging, and you need to be consistent. There just has to be something unique about the content you're bringing forward that is unique from what every other person is doing. And when your content is unique and you're consistent, the challenge of monetization will be something you will be able to overcome. And of course, another challenge, I'll speak from my angle, from where I work as a TV station. Of course, the challenge is always when the commercial people are always at loggerheads with the content people. The content people are the creativity people. And if you're dealing with people that are very creative, they really do not want you to bend when they've come up with an idea or a content strategy. They don't want you to bend it. They want you to bend it to the left or bend it to the right. They always want you to dish it. They always want to dish it out the way they've come up with the content brief. And the commercial people are coming to say, hey, this creative direction is not going to work for the market. We think you should bend it to the left, you should bend it to the right. So there's always that clash between commercial people and content people. And that's a challenge. So it takes a lot of years of experience, emotional intelligence to be able to find your way and scale through that level of challenge. So that's coming from my angle. But monetization is the main challenge. But when you're able to get your content right, you can overcome the difficulties in monetizing your content. Look at some of the social media people, the big content people you see online today. It took them quite a number of years of doing something totally different. And once they hit it big, and it has been going well for them all since that point. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Does that answer your question, or you have another question?
Priska, does that answer your question? It does for me. Okay, so yes, he answered. I heard the question that he asked, and I think it answered for me. Now we have a question on YouTube chat, and Rosemary wants to know if every piece of content produced generates revenue, even at the beginning of the media house operation. Should I read that again? Does every piece
Please
of
do.
content produced generate revenue, even at the beginning of the media house operation? That's what she did.
Okay, so I will tell you that not every content generates revenue. Not every content generates revenue. I must tell you that some news contents are not even for sale. You understand? Some content will give you the eyeballs and might not generate revenue. And that's why in every organization, you have the star contents. The star contents are the ones that do not cost so much money to produce them, but they are generating so much revenue. That's why we call them star contents. And you find that in TV organizations, star content, we normally place them at our prime time hour. We place them at probably 7 o'clock in the morning, which is a breakfast show, or 10 o'clock at night, which is when you watch most of your evening news. So not all content will generate revenue. I expected to generate revenue, but some content will give you the eyeballs, but not generate revenue. The content that will give you the eyeballs are mostly the political contents that are not for sale. We do not want to sell it because we do not want to be, we don't want our hands to be tied if a government person, for example, is sponsoring our news And then when it's time for us to hold them accountable, we can't hold them accountable again because we've collected their money. Do you understand? So some news content are really not for sale and are not expected to generate revenue. But even in programs, not every program content will generate revenue. Some are star content and will always generate revenue. Some will just be there as, we don't want to call them holders, but they are just there, they're occupying space, and people might like it, but not a large population of people might find it commercially viable. So not all content will generate revenue. So that's the sincere truth. So it's the job of the senior management to be able to identify those contents that will generate revenue and invest in them more, promote them more. And that's how you can get returns on your investments. Every TV station you see today, even to the likes of CNN, not all their contents are generating revenue, but they identify those star contents and they invest in them heavily. Does that answer the question? Hello?
It is. I don't know if Rose is on the call. Thank you
I'm
so
on the
much
call,
for.
I've been speaking.
Please,
Oh, sorry. I
can
need
you hear me,
Hope.
Ma?
Yes,
You
I was asking if I was able to
Hello,
answer
can
the
you hear me?
question.
Yes, yes. It was Rosemary that asked that question, and she has said yes in the comment section. So yes, Ma, you have been able to answer that question. And there's one thing that's been going through my mind since we started having this conversation. And you said so many things that a marketing person has, some of the skills that a marketing person has. Now, broadcasters, presenters might not necessarily have those skills. So if I, as a presenter, I studied communication in school or something that is related to communications, what are some of the courses, professional certification that I can do to enable me have this knowledge that you are sharing with us right now?
Okay, so as an anchor, are you asking for an anchor or for a business person in media?
For an anchor.
For an anchor. Of course, for an anchor, you want to do a lot of courses around presentation, presentation, delivering of content. I think what makes an anchor very attractive is being able to deliver content in the most professional way. So presentation is very important. Advanced writing and reporting skills is very important. The art of interviewing is very important because you must be able to know how to interview from the lowest level of guests to the highest level of guests. Okay, so that's important. The art of storytelling is important. Where I work at News Central, an anchor should be able to report the news as well. So there might be a crisis. We should be able to get an anchor and we throw you in the field to do a quick report. So you also want to learn more on your diction, and thankfully, Dolapo is here to do that. Because you can't I can get away with it, but you can't be an anchor
Yes.
and you are pronouncing something in a very funny way, Social media will catch up with you. You understand? So the art of interviewing, the art of storytelling, advice writing and reporting skills, production. As an anchor, you should be able to produce as well. You find out that their presenters and anchors are also their producers as well. So writing, reporting, the art of interviewing, the art of storytelling, those are very important certifications that you need to work on. And these courses are available on YouTube. They're all around YouTube. You can always just go on YouTube and and you get those courses for free. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, Mark. Yes, Mark. It answered my questions. You said that those courses are always available on YouTube, and you can always check them out on YouTube. And one very important thing that you said is addiction. So if you want to explore this other side of media, you're also very important. Media girls, I hope you are writing. I hope you are learning. Please remember that you speaker would answer that for us. My network is bad. Can you hear?
Yes, I can.
So I want to read out a quote on the YouTube live chat. What if you didn't study communications or media related courses, but you find yourself thriving in media? What course can you help yourself with, especially when you have all the skills? I think she pretty much answered that, but I don't know if you want to, I guess the person did not hear you.
Yeah, because when people say communications, I mean that's wide. Media and communications is wide. If you want to work in media, what do you want to work as? Do you want to work as an anchor? Do you want to work as a producer? Do you want to work as a script writer? Do you want to work as an editor, or do you want to work as a commercial person? Do you want to work as a PR consultant, a PR expert? It really depends on what you want to do within the media and the communication space. That will really determine the sort of courses that you should go for. But the courses I just mentioned now was related to the question you asked as an anchor. What are the courses, one should do, and that also would also help someone who wants to be a producer. You want to learn how to do production. You want to learn how to handle cameras, for a cameraman, that's going the technical aspect. So of course, if it's in core commercial, you want to learn sales and marketing. How do you close deals? The art of negotiation, the art of decision making. How do you negotiate? You understand? For communications, you want to learn more about public relations. How do you handle crisis management? Working in a TV station, there's bound to be crisis every now and then. How do you manage those crises? You understand? So if the person can be very specific as to what he or she wants to do within the media and the communication space, I might be able to advise them, much, much better.
All right, thank you so much. FOP TV, I hope you what our speaker said. You would want to decide what aspect of media you want to go into so that she can advise you. Now we have another question from Rosalind. For media professionals who are skilled and experienced to an extent, who desire to start the business side of media content digitally without physical buildings, how
Okay, I can't hear her because she's
content
hanging.
digitally?
You might
You
need
were
to take
hanging
the
for a
question
while.
again.
Yes, you need to take the question again.
Oh, please take the question
Emma, I
again.
didn't
Your
get
network-
you.
Can you take the question again? Your network was fluctuating.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. For media professionals who are skilled and experienced to an extent, who desire to start the big side of media content digitally without physical buildings, how can they go about it?
I think that's even much, much easier. You have your phone, right? You have the social media platform. But the most important thing is what sort of content do you want to put out there? I think that's what's important. Anybody in this digital age, anybody can do any goddamn thing. I mean, aside from working in a TV station, I have my platform where I speak more about business, motivational speaking, just general motivation about life and how you can get to do your business much better. Anyone can do content. But the main thing, which is the problem and the challenge we have in this time and age, is that what sort of content do you want to put out there? As much as we have good content, content creators, we also have content creators that sincerely, when I watch their content, I'm asking myself, okay, what is this about? Okay, what did I just watch? Do you understand?
Yes.
So it's all about the content. What's the content idea? That is where the main work is. Social media is there. It takes 5 minutes to open an Instagram page. It takes less than 2 minutes to open a Twitter handle. But what content do you want to dish out there? You don't need any building. You don't need any master control room or production control room or massive cameras that's like what's 100 and something million. Your phone, your social media platform, boom, you're there. But what content do you want to put out there? Is the content thought-provoking? Is the content bringing about change? I mean, I know the entertainers are there. They want to make people laugh. But what message are you passing while you're making people laugh? It just has to be something. It just has to be substance. Yeah, and that's what we're lacking. And I'm hoping that after this session, I would hear that, a number of people are coming up with content that has substance, that the brand owners will be rushing them to say, I want to sponsor, It's not just about laughs and jokes. We laugh and we joke, but content must have substance, really. And that's where the real work is.
All right. Your content must have substance. Yeah, in the world where there are so many content, does your content has substance? Is it okay? Thank you so much, Ma, for answering that question. And I think I don't have any more questions. Please drop it now because we are rounding up. One last question I think media girls we want to ask is, what advice do you for young women? Okay, so we have one question in Priska Adeyemo is asking, what are some key revenue streams media businesses rely on today? And what is the next thing in media that no one is talking about yet?
I mean, the basic one everybody knows is advertising.
Do I take that again?
I heard it. The basic one everybody knows is advertising. You have inventory, come and advertise your 30 seconds adverts. But that's not all. You also have your sponsorship. You want to sponsor a program, but that's not all. You have an opportunity to produce content. Every TV station is also a production house because you have everything. You probably have more than what a production house has. So you have the opportunity to produce content for other people as well. You also have the opportunities of getting grants from NGOs who are focusing on a particular cause. Like news organizations, we want to do investigative journalism. You have the likes of MacArthur Foundation that are into investigative work. That's another way you can make money. That's another way you can sustain the newsroom. You have the opportunities for collaboration. Some people might say, hey, we have an idea to create the content, but we don't have the technical capacity to do it. We don't have the human capital to do it. So why don't we partner with your organization? And then when we create this content and this content makes money, we can share the money. So news organizations should, at this point, there's no room for being greedy to say, oh, everything to myself. There is money to be made when you co-create content and then you share money. So this gives an insight to anyone who wants to create content. There might be one friend of yours that you might want to sit down, collaborate with, co-create content. And then when you start monetizing, you're able to share money as well. For a TV station, we make a lot of money from lives. When you see that a program has gone live, there's a lot of money to be made from lives. I mean, there are just a number of ways that that TV stations make money aside from the normal advertising. So I think I've mentioned advertising, sponsorship, grants, production, and co-creation and sharing of revenue. That's about 5 things I've mentioned.
I have to join with my backup now. I'm having network issues.
Okay.
Can you hear me, ma?
Yes, I can. I can hear
All
you.
right. Thank you so much, ma, for answering these questions with so much insight. So, ma, I would like to hear your final words of encouragement to media girls who are hoping to build a career like yourself for themselves in the business of media.
Okay, so I mean, I'm hoping that this session has been able to change your perception on what you think the business of media is. It's not just about advertising, but it's about market research, market analysis, you being a creative person, being a potential content producer. It's end to end. It's end to end from ideation to commercialization. So there's so much. As a business person in media, you have to be a storyteller. So understanding that these areas are areas that you should understand before being a unique person in the business of media. You know that there's so much for you to learn. If you're working in a media organization and you're doing it properly, like I have mentioned, it gives you so many opportunities to work in several organizations, developmental organizations. If you want to go into core agency, you can. If you want to go into corporate communications, you can. So there is so much to learn when you are a business person in the media space. It's more like you are given the opportunity to cheat in the sense that you are the center of everything and you are learning every department. Because if you're a business person in the media space, you are learning news, you are learning programs, you are learning technical, you are learning production. So it's like an opportunity for you to learn everything, and that gives you access to endless opportunities. I can tell you that for sure. So I'm telling the girls that think that the business of media is just about advertising. No, it's not about advertising. It goes way, way, way more than that. I can tell you for sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. We should be the one thanking you for coming and sharing so much with us. So we've learned a lot of things today. Can you hear me? Oh, my network.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so we've learned a whole lot today. We know that for you to thrive in the business of media, you have to put on your creative cap as well as your business cap, and you have to use your strategy when thinking about content. Your content has to be fresh, it has to be interesting, it has to be tested, and it has to be relatable. And I'm sure the girls have learned a thing or two on their own, but they can't share now. We'll drop it in the group later. So thank you so much, Ma, for coming to share all of this wisdom and us today. And my video is up. So I'll hand over now to our convener, Mrs. Oludolapo, to take over from here.
All right.
All right. What I'll just say is appreciation. Thank you a million times to the one and only Rosemary. I know that she's like, when you say schedules packed on schedules, that's what she has. But she made out time to say if it's for media girls, she's going to come, and she did. So I want to say thank you so much, sis. God bless you. And the great work that you're doing at News Central. Just so you know, I used to work at News Central, and sometimes, like earlier today, I saw something posted by Onyechi Obaru, and it was really, really touching, something to affect the community around her. Onyechi Obaru was my former colleague. She does sport, and she's using sport as an avenue to touch lives. And I could see the branded bags of News Central also going there. And our guest today, Rosemary, talked about you being visible in the marketplace. You've been visible everywhere, making sure your brand is being promoted. And that's what the sponsors will see to say, let's partner this particular program and everything. All right. So before you go, we would like to know your LinkedIn account. Someone is asking on YouTube so that we can follow you and get nuggets. We follow you already, but for the people online who want to be part of what you're doing and want to continue to learn from you, let's hear from your mouth, please. You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. So it's Rosemary Egabor-Afolahan, not Afolayan, because people like to dash me Afolayan. I'm not an Afolayan. Afolahan. Let me just see if I can type it here. Rosemary Egabor.
Do you know that was what I called you the first time I met you too?
Aha, I can imagine. Everybody calls me Afolayan, Afolayan. Kule Afolayan, I've told him I don't want to be part of your family. Oh, I'm happily married.
So there you
right.
have it. She has typed it in the chat room, and the community manager will post it again. Rosemary Egabor-Afolahan. Then on Instagram, it's Ria Speaks One, at Ria Speaks, right?
Yes, at Ria Speaks One. Yes, at Ria Speaks One.
Okay. Are you also you're also on TikTok, right?
Yes, I am. If you just type my name out, it will pop out.
Okay. Fantastic. So there you have it. Thank you so much to everyone that joined on YouTube and everyone that will watch this live stream again. Thank you so much for being a fantastic audience. And I say thank you to our anchors for today, Hope, and people waiting in the wings, Deborah, taking notes vigorously, as well as Priska. And back to our guests once again, and the entire family that made sure that this production was a success. We say thank you to you. God bless you. Media girls, have a great night. Good night, ma'am.
Good night.
Hi, ma'am.